My name is Daniela Perez, and today I'm going to talk to basic concept in phonetics. Language. Language, a system of arbitrary conventional spoken, manual signing, or written symbol by means of which human beings, as a members of a social group and participants in its culture, express themselves. These functions of language include communication, the expression of identity, play, imaginative expression, and emotional release. Linguistics. The scientific study of language. The word was first used in the middle of the 19th century to emphasize the difference between a newer approach to the study of language that was then deployed and the more traditional approach of philology. What is phonetics? Phonetics is a branch of linguistics that comprises the study of sounds of human speech. It involves the physical properties of speech sounds, their psychological, production acoustics, properties, auditory perception, and neurophysiologic status. Phonetics study everything related to the production and perception of human speech sound. Phonetic is divided into three branches. Articularity phonetics, the study of how speech sounds are produced by the human vocal apparatus. 2. Acoustic phonetics, the study of the sound waves made by the human vocal organs for communication. And 3. Auditory phonetics, the study of how speech sounds are perceived by the ear, auditory nerve, and brain. Is phonology. Phonology is the study of how sounds are organized and used in the natural languages. The phonological system of a language includes an inventory of sounds and their features and rules which specify how sounds interact with each other. Phonology is just one of several aspects of language. It is related to other aspects such as phonetics, morphology, syntax, and pragmatics. The illustration below shows the place of phonology in an interacting hierarchy of levels in linguistics. Phono, sound plus logy, study of. She studied everything related to the standards that rule possible combinations of phonemes in a given language. What is the difference between phonology and phonetics? Phonetics and phonology are two fields dedicated to the study of the human speech sounds and sound structures. The difference between phonetics and phonology is that phonetics deals with the physical productions of these sounds, while phonology is the study of sounds, patterns, and their meanings both within and across language. Comparison phonology and phonetics. Phonetics is the basics for phonetical analysis, and phonology is the basis for the further work in morphology, syntax, discourse, and orthography design. Phonetics also analyzes the production of all human speech sounds, regardless of language. And phonology analyzes the sounds patterns on a particular language by determining which phonetic sounds are they significant and explaining how these sounds are interpreted by the native speaker. Is a phoneme. Definition: a phoneme is the smallest contrastive unit in the sound system of a language. Discussion: phonologists have differing views of the phoneme. Following are the two major views considered here. In the American structuralist tradition, a phoneme is defined according to its allophones and environments. In the generative tradition, a phoneme is defined as a set of distinctive features. An allophone. An allophone is a phonetic variant on a phoneme in a particular language. For example, I can say water, but in England say water, and in I say car, but the other countries say car. But what is an allomorph? Definition: from the Greek prefix allo, which means another, and morph form. Therefore, the tail allomorph refers to the other forms a word. For example, strong, strength, long, length, true, truth, and also we have big, bigger, biggest, fish, fisher, fishing, and life, lively, love, lovely, loveliness, happy, happiness, happier. We have too much samples. A chart that compares phones and phonemes. A phone is one of many possible sounds in the language of the world, and phoneme is a contrastive unit in the sound system of a particular language. A phone is the smallest identifiable unit found in a stream or speech. A phoneme is a minimal unit that serves to distinguish between meanings of words. A phone is pronounced in a definite way, represented between brackets by convention. Example B, G, O. And phoneme is pronounced in the one or more ways depending on the number of allophones, represented by between slashes by convention. Example P, G, O. Minimal pair. Example English minimal pair. Here example of the phoneme R and I occurring in a minimal pair. For example, rip, lip, hot versus dog, car versus scar, truck versus trunk, no versus no, and we have new versus new, and die versus lie. Phones R and I contrast in the identical environments and are considered to be separate phonemes. The phonemes R and I serve to distinguish the word rip from the word lip. Words sharing the same phoneme pattern and pronunciation, like at night, night, by, see, sell, sail, to, life, main, men, and also we have male, here, and here. Homograph. Pair of the word that spell it the same but do not share the same pronunciation. For example, life versus life, record versus record, lead versus lead, object versus object, and also we have date and day versus date, and clothes versus clothes. And we have homonym. Homograph. I tell it again, homograph. The pair of the word that spell the same but not the share pronunciation. My example is rose, rosé, and dessert, dessert. Homonyms. The words pronounced and spelled the same, meaning depend on the context. For example, date, close, and close. Also, we have right versus right, fine versus fine, blue versus blue, and please versus please. Is a grapheme. Grapheme from the Greek graphena, a letter. In linguistics, is the one of an orthographic symbol. Letters are a combination of letters in a given language that serve to distinguish one of the word another, and usually correspond or they represent phonemes E, G. For example, the F in phone, the PH in phantom, and the GH in log, I in sit, Y in synchronic, and U and busy. Another example like on and no, and CH in chemist and chef.